I like Hello Neighbor. I like the lore and the story and the games, for the most part. And I also like game design, and I aspire to create my own game sometime in the future, and mini games, but I'm struggling at the moment to release my first game. So I've decided to tackle Hello Neighbor and try and recreate one of my favourite games of all time. Despite learning Unreal Engine and knowing a fair bit about the software, I still have yet to release my first game and make a fully fledged game start to finish. I either lose motivation or I just get stuck on a glitch. I started in the third-person template and I found this house. I imported it without the textures as I was going to retexture it with high-quality textures from Quixel I created the true first person easily in a third-person template, and I begun testing it. This process of retexturing the house took a very long time, but it was worth it in the end. I won't show all the floors, but I'll show this first floor pretty sped up, as it did take a long time, but I luckily found assets that somewhat resemble the original house. This house is from the Alpha 2 of Hello Neighbor, which you can see in the bottom right. One of my favourite versions of the game, and one of my favourite houses. In the end, I had something I was pretty proud of, which very closely resembled the original house, just with upscaled textures. I ran through it and checked every room and made sure I did it right, and I believe with some furniture, this place could really pop. Now, you can't have Hello Neighbor without the neighbor himself, Mr. Peterson. Before, I've recreated him in MetaHuman, and I decided I was going to try and do that again. I then secured a solid reference, and I began in the MetaHuman using my boy Nassim here, who I thought resembled him close enough. I started with the eyes, simply enough, noticed they were green, and did that, and from there it was a pretty simple process. By the end, I had something I was once again pretty proud of. Unfortunately, I could not figure out how to have like a vest and stuff, but despite that, I prepared to make my AI blueprint. I've made AI like this before, but I still opt to follow YouTube tutorials. My go-to is Matt Asplant. His tutorials are concise, straightforward, and I never seem to have much problem when I follow them. Things that came first were things like his peripheral vision and his cone of vision, which were really easy to manufacture. And then we got into the blueprint side of it, which is just like Unreal Engine's coding, but much easier if you know what you're doing. It was then time to import the MetaHuman of Mr. Peterson into the AI, which was harder than you'd think as all the different parts of his body came separately. But once that was done, I had him imported into the game, and he was using the same animations as the former mannequin was. I went up and I began to test it, and just as I'd hoped, he would follow me around. I also used this as an opportunity to test out the house and the collisions, which were not quite there yet, but I was just making sure that the AI could maneuver the house easy enough. All looked good. But I would later come to realize, once I added the roam and everything, that the AI was kind of stupid. But I figured that's a problem for a later time. The next thing I added was a bit of foliage and some physics doors. I also soon learned that the AI cannot walk through these doors, but that is also a problem for future me. Once I was done fooling around with the doors, I decided it was time to add more collision to the house, as I had to disable it. This took a long time and there was probably a way better way to do it, but this is what I ended up with. I tested it some more, and it was looking pretty decent for a first game, if I do say so myself. But I had to make sure all the collisions were correct and that the AI would not get messed up within the house. Once I completed some more rigorous playtesting, I went into CapCut to make a load up logo for the start of my game, as you would sort of just go straight into the game. I used CapCut as I knew how to use it and I know I could get a half decent result. I ended up making a main menu and loading screen as well. You can see it here playing all together now, and I believe I got a pretty good result out of it. But anyways, this is as far as I've gotten in this project so far. But subscribe if you'd like to see more.